It's a Tuesday, the 15th of August. Good evening and welcome to Business Today. Let's start with a look at our top stories tonight. In Business Today, Bank of Uganda drops central bank rate to 9.5% as Uganda sustains low 6.5% growth. Slow progress attributed to the monetary tightening in the course of last year. 700 tea growers in Kigezi region petition parliament over uncleared damages. Patrick Chichoncho arrested, yet to account for tea growers 30 billion shillings. And 40% of local demand undermines market. Dairy Development Authority eyes African dairy export linkages. Kenya's brocket termed strategic, although powder exports rank highly. I'm Nora Nahabwe together with Winnie Wins and Nakaochi for the sign language. Welcome aboard. Now, starting with limited dairy consumption, the dairy industry has maintained calls to confront several obstacles inhibiting bigger revenues, market access and gross demand for products. While Dairy Development Authority anticipates the 16th African Dairy Conference and Exhibition as a platform for further sector transformation, the Minister of State for Animal Industry, Bright Ramlama, has urged Ugandans to embrace local consumption, a key factor for market growth and way for countries as the country pursues beyond East Africa.
As of January to March 2023, total value of dairy exports was 692.3 billion shillings, with an increase of 72% in value of exports compared to the last quarter of 2022, with 121 billion shillings. Despite being a country with immense agriculture potential, factors such as climate change and lack of modern farming techniques have led to a decline in milk yields. An additional concern impacting the industry is the fact that just 40% of Ugandans partake in milk and its byproducts, resulting in a sluggish domestic market.
Ugandans are consuming less dairy products as compared to the World Health Organization required standards. The per capita consumption for World Health Organization for normal human beings is 200 liters. Uganda, we are at 64 now.
But of course the challenge there is knowledge to the farmers, dissemination of that knowledge, but also the resources to have mass scale. But we are doing it through animal national genetic resources, NAGRIC, and of course the Ministry of Agriculture to see that the farmers access those breeds. Now, another challenge related to that is the climate change, that we tend so much to look at our production based on seasonality. Yes, during the wet season, bumper harvest. Dry season, no milk production.
Milk powder was the most exported dairy product with a value of 498.4 billion shillings, accounting for approximately 72% of the total exports. UHT accounted for 159.33 billion shillings, butter with 17.88 billion shillings, casein with 14.33 billion shillings, yogurt with 1.62 billion shillings, and cheese with the least accounting for 0.04 billion shillings as of January to March this year. It's evident that urgent action is needed to help farmers and processors add value on the dairy products to keep up with evolving market demands.
We are only competing with giants and they don't want us to get into the market. But in order to get in the market is that we have to improve our quality. When you say, is our quality not good? When we talk of smallholders, we are talking of quality from farm to fork. Currently, the quality of the milk in the market is very good.
Changing from extensive farming in terms of having more productivity rather than having the numbers. As you notice that the population is increasing, there is pressure on land, and therefore we no longer want to see dairy farmers who are raising unproductive cows. What we've been doing is to ensure that we have improved breeds, but also have nutrition for the improved breeds.
According to Minister of State for Animals Industry, Honorable Bright Ramirama, Kenya's rejection of our milk, despite its good quality, seems to be a trade strategy as we are aiming at markets beyond East Africa.
First of all, it is not true that our dairy products are substandard. No. They are using other reasons to frustrate trade. And you know we are in the common market. Our products have been tested to be highest quality by reputable inspectors of AU. So our quality is very high. The challenge is that we are very competitive and they are trying to protect their domestic production.
With collective efforts such as investing in infrastructure, promoting sustainable farming practices, and ensuring stringent quality control measures, Uganda's dairy sector can thrive, securing a bright future for its people and the economy. Bronya Katsime, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
While welcoming legislators from a two-week recess, the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Thomas Tayebwa, has advised members of Parliament to stay calm and wait for negotiations between government and the World Bank following the Global Bank's decision to cease funding new projects. The legislators had raised the matter, beseeching the Finance Ministry to appear before committees on budget, finance and national economy so as to find a relative solution. This development was, however, declined by Tayebwa. Samla Hanifa has details.
The World Bank saga is still creating panic amongst Ugandans, including lawmakers. But the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Honorable Thomas Tayebwa, has advised his MPs to stop panicking because it is a sign of weakness. Yet the country is not weak.
Mr. Speaker, the Minister of Finance last week communicated the position of the World Bank regarding funding of certain aspects of our budget, and he urged the agency for this Parliament to review our budget in line of the actions which have already taken place by the World Bank. Given that background, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Speaker, relating to your guidance on committees to consider having meetings when we are not sitting here, would it be procedurally right for you, in light of the challenges that we are having as a country relating to our budget funding, for the Ministry of Finance to meet the Committee of Finance, Budget and National Economy tomorrow so that we address those issues?
Panicking as if the country is it's going to shut down. We made a decision here. When we were making that decision, we knew it would have repercussions. Okay? And we are prepared and we are strong about the decision we made as a house. The moment we show any signs of weakness and panic, it means we don't know what we are doing, we don't know what was coming. We knew threats would come, people would try to do what. So please, let us be calm. At any time, when the Minister for Finance or the Executive, and I saw the communication of the President, he said they are engaging with the World Bank on this matter. So at any time when the Minister for Finance or the Executive feels they want to do anything with regard to reviewing the budget, they will come back here and they inform us. So I would urge the committees of finance, budget, these meetings, Minister for Finance, come and explain. World Bank has withdrawn funding, so you must come, you explain, you do what. You're pressing the panic button for nothing.
In the same regard, the Prime Minister Robin Anambanja has called on Ugandans to stay firm as government is still in talks with the World Bank officials. She says if the negotiations fail, Cabinet will look for alternative funding to foster economic development of the country.
The news, we are going to use a number of approaches. One, we shall continue to negotiate with World Bank officials. And two, we shall also look for a way of being frugal in whatever we do as a country. as Prime Minister, I've been tasked by the President to look for all possible ways where we can save money so that we can cover up for that funding that World Bank is withdrawing. But in the meantime, we are still hopeful that we shall negotiate with them.
According to Tayewa, if government needs to revise the budget, it is very okay, but called for calmness amongst lawmakers who are suggesting that finance devise means of addressing the situation. Sam Lanifa, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
Now looking at what's new with the Namanthe Industrial Park, the Minister of State for Privatization and Investment, Honorable Evelyn Anite, has inspected the progress of the 214 million euro infrastructure development project at Namanthe Industrial Park, where 500 factories and 250,000 jobs are expected at the fall of the project. The 5-year project, contracted to Lagan Services, is 40% complete, with reason attributed to suspension of works due to the recent COVID-19 outbreak. The minister has further appreciated the work done towards achieving the industrialization as envisioned by President Museveni. The visit was accompanied by engineers involved in the project and officials from Uganda Investment Authority.
When we go in front, we are going to actually.
We are charging them for services, which is road, electricity, water, and sewage, but we are not providing those services, and so they couldn't. And then we had a premium of $80,000 per acre of land, and we're charging them. So it was very, very complex for them to be able to develop, because even buying an acre, which was not on a solid ground and there's no service, it's in a bush, and all that was very difficult. So in 2016, we decided that we should develop this. You all do remember that we had other financials. We had World Bank that had wanted to finance this project, and they pulled out. And that's why it is not news for us when World Bank pulls out, because they have done that before. So they pulled out on this project, and therefore we got Lagan through UKF that accepted to finance this project, because we couldn't finance it with our national budget, and we needed a partner to finance it. So UKF came in and financed the project. And so the project, as I've already given you the history, we had designed it, and we're coming from that far background of you have to first design and then build. And this is particularly for infrastructure. So we contracted Lagan for them to be able to do this project for 5 years, and they have been spending time designing. But at the time Lagan came in, many investors had already put now their factories, and they had demarcated their areas, and so we had to go into negotiations with those investors to see that they give waivers for Lagan to be able to, Lagan Dodge to be able to start and commencing the project. Then COVID came. So why we're here today is that everyone is asking us the question. This is a loan which is like 215 million euros, and we have to get the project done. So all eyes are on Namanthe, because out of the facilities that the services that we'll be providing, we'll have to pay the loan. And so we are left with 1 year to finish this project. And as the minister responsible for investment, I decided that together with my team members, the Uganda Investment Authority, that we come and do a fact-finding mission and see where we stand as per the project. So we have moved. We have discovered that they are 40%. See that these guys are filling the section, and we then come.
All right, now looking at mapping nationwide investment following the existence of the presumably non-functional district investment committees, Uganda Investment Authority was pushed back to the drawing board and finally drafted new local district economic investment committees. Participatory ecological land use and management, PELAM Uganda, has thus called for proper functionality of the district and sub-county investment committees, to which it claims haven't been practical to support nationwide investment. Pedson Mumbele reports.
Pelham Uganda conducted a study in 2022 and realized that there is non-functional district and sub-county investment committees coupled with capacity gaps, as well as weak partnership between Uganda Investment Authority and the district local government. Moses Onen from Pelham Uganda says that if these committees are not in operation, then local investors are not being held accountable.
So where these committees are not in place and where they're non-functional, it therefore means the investors operate at large. And this becomes worse, especially where we have incidences of investors that have state backing. They're connected to individuals that are powerful. So to the extent that the technical team of the district cannot crack whip on them. And the beauties with these committees is that they hold investors to account.
The statement is true. The investment committees, both at the district and the sub-county level, are not functioning. And I take the reference to my district.
In an effort to map the investment opportunities and requirement in the local governments, the Uganda Revenue Authority has also embarked on the formation of local district economic investment committees, LEDICs. Peter Mramera, the Deputy Director, Business Development at Uganda Investment Authority, notes that the local district economic investment committees, LEDICs, will identify suitable collaboration between local investors and the district leadership.
LEDIC will convene because they want to ensure that this investor doesn't go anywhere, because if he shuts down the Kasese operation, Mbarara will take him. Collaboration. We need to put our effort behind LEDIC. It is the answer to most of these issues that we are talking about, be it administrative, be it interpretation, be it execution.
Their functions, like for me, I fault so much also the UIA, because they're supposed to help this committee function. They need to build their capacity. No, they have talked, but they operate in Kampala. As a district, if we say where the minutes or the training report, why maybe UIA has ever built the capacity of these committees and make sure that they are functional, they are trained, they are given, or actually they have their responsibility now, but it is not activated. That's what we mean.
The district investment committees were formed to identify investment opportunities in the districts, but also engage local government and the private sector in the district so that they are actively engaged in investment promotion, facilitation and aftercare services in their areas. But all of a sudden, according to Pelham Uganda's research, they have not been working. There is therefore hope that the formation of local economic district investment committees, LEDICs, will help more. Pedson Mumbere, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
We now look at the nuts and tea growers standoff. The Committee on Commissions, Statutory Authorities and State Enterprises, COSASE, has handed over Patrick Chichoncho Katabazi, the ED Center for Budget and Tax Police, and as well as an advocate to Parliamentary CID, to explain over 30 billion shillings that was misappropriated. The sum was given to him by the National Agricultural Advisory Services, NADS, in partial damage to cover the tea growers in the Kigezi sub-region. About 700 tea growers have been defrauded of damages and pleaded to a committee for justice. Samla Hanifa has more.
The committee today discovered that Mr. Patrick Chichoncho, a lawyer from Pathways Advocates, defrauded tea growers from Kigezi sub-region of their money which NADS had compensated them with. According to the documents presented before the committee, 39 billion shillings was given to Pathways Advocate to refund the aggrieved farmers.
Mr. Katabazi is just being mean with the truth. He knows the truth, but he is just mean. He's denying the records he submitted to NADS. He has failed to talk to us regarding the money transferred to the law firm from the beneficiaries, and the beneficiaries are here. He has failed. Madam Chair, wouldn't it be procedure right that we don't allow Mr. Katavaz to waste our time? We hand over Mr. Katavaz to our CID to make statements, and then he's compelled to produce the documents he has refused to produce here, and then we proceed with our report. Because even if we stayed here for another 1 week with Mr. Katavaz, the way I see him, he's very mean with the truth and is on oath.
As are raising a little bit pertinent. If you look at our special powers under Rule 208, when we invite you here, we have powers of the High Court. You cannot deny this committee access to any information on a document because the rules are clear.
When asked to present all the documents detailing all the beneficiaries and the amount of money each received, the lawyer made it clear to the committee that the law does not allow him to do so under client-advocate privilege, except this angered the legislators.
That I have come prepared to provide to this honorable committee is a representative order. The rest of other documents, as I shall explain in my statement, fall under advocate-client privilege, and I have not sought authorization from my clients to divulge this particular information to this committee.
The aggrieved tea growers, some of whom were seen crying before the committee, informed members of parliament that Mr. Chichoncho's law firm forced them to sign documents they do not understand, only for them to see their money being withdrawn in large amounts.
Honorable Madam Chair, people have died. We lost a colleague, Mr. Francis Ntaho Frank. He got a loan, all his retirement benefits. He put money in this project, all the money was taken. He died. His orphans are outside. They were locked outside the committee. So we need justice. We need our money. And this Mr. Roya Katavaz has the money. It is still there because this is a lot of money. They should close his accounts and we are paid our money. We want to thank the ED and the President Museveni for this project and for giving us opportunity to get money. But not is paid. But the lawyer and these other people, they have their clique of eating our money. That's why you hear he's saying I can't disclose before these electoral people. I'm very glad the ED has said we are 700 beneficiaries, Madam Chair, from the ED's mouth. And each beneficiary, they were doing the same to him or her. I'm able to come here because I can afford to come here. These gentlemen have come from Chisoro, but imagine it among the 700 beneficiaries.
Nena kunyinji. Dada kafuna roni, iza roni ya mberayo. Dadi ya fabwa pressure, ogomu wako kwa kasatu. Abwa sente hizo kurema pizza. So tutawana tuliontu ngwani sa kushafiri jironi. A milioni avina mshanzi bakatwelezo milioni ina izo batire. November kwezi mu November last year. So bandi tubashaba mututereze sente za kuba ebi turi kuraba mu nibinzi turi gwanisa ronage interest yo yonkane gumane yongera. So mututereze sente bami mutuyambe.
Mbanje milioni 38 ne basasula 18 ne bagamba bakole ensobe okunsasula nadis idi nengendo wa idi nasanga nti bakole ensobe nampa ebaluwa nenjiteka wa Katabazi nagamba sirina sente tina sente ze bampadde nendayo munadizi ne bangamba twakusindisa eri buli bwengendayo nenda mu munadizi ne bangamba twakuwe ebaluwa bagende bakuwe sente tuko wa Katabazi sirina.
The committee concluded by handing over Mr. Patrick Chichoncho to CID officers of parliament to force him to bring all the documents the committee needs, as well as the aggrieved tea growers to give their statement regarding the money they were meant to receive.
Matter, I am going to ask Mr. Katavazi, together with all the witnesses, the ones from Kisoro, Kanungu, Rukunjiri, the ones who came here, to go to the CID to make statements, because we are getting a lot of information that should interest us as a committee. And because we now don't have time, today is our last engagement with NADS. We are expecting a report from CID to form our recommendation and the way forward.
The committee expects CID findings, which will inform their report regarding investigations into National Agriculture Advisory Services. Samlanifa, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
Wow, that report will usher us into a short commercial break. We will return after this.
Smart 24, driving business.
Cooking oil like no other makes your meal so sweet and scrumptious. The taste of Uganda, yeah, the taste of Uganda.
And in talking news, MTN has improved on their data voice bundles. You can now call across all networks for the same price. We've talked to several eyewitnesses on the ground, and this is what one of them had to say.
Amos, did you hear about the MTN daily voice bundles?
So, to join many more other Ugandans enjoying these MTN daily voice bundles, dial *100 *21# or use the My MTN app to start enjoying. Stay tuned for more offers from MTN.
Luxury redefined at Seasand Hotel as you indulge in the splendor of elegant living fit for the royalty that you are. Step into comfort, pampering and blissful customer-centric service as you select from our range of comfy, exquisite living quarters furnished to meet with your royal preference. Surrounded by scenic beauty, our tropical setting allows you to escape the glamorous ordeal of city life. Our ambient green gardens will guide you to a place of revitalizing rest. The 3-star restaurant caters to your palate, serving your choice menu ranging from exotic cuisines to local delicacies. Our chefs will serve you full-course meals for a truly out-of-this-world culinary experience. Our fully stocked bar to whet your throat, from renowned global brand whisks, brandies, gins, beers and wines to our locally celebrated beverages, you will not lack for any brewage. It's an all-new experience in the East at Seasand Hotel, so visit today at plot 15 to 19 Spire Road, Ginger, or contact us on +256 751 719 960 and +256 785 354 614 for reservations. Seasand Hotels, luxury redefined.
Smart 24, driving business.
You're still watching Business Today, and if you just joined us, you are in for the second half of Business Today. We now look at the regressive economic outlook. Bank of Uganda has, through its monetary policy statement, confirmed a further drop in inflation to 9.5% from 10% previously. The drop is, however, undermined by the fact that economic growth has fumbled at an average negative 6.5% on successive quarters. Drop in economic growth has been attributed to the impact of the tight monetary policy that saw high lending rates to address inflation and a fall in private sector activity as credit uptake remains low.
Although annual headline inflation dropped below the 5% mark at 3.9% in July, following effective monetary tightening, and the central bank rate currently revised to 9.5% from 10% prior, Bank of Uganda has confirmed a drop in economic growth, as earlier on demonstrated by Uganda Bureau of Statistics at negative 6.5% for consecutive quarters, attributed to measures taken to tackle inflation last year and current multi-sector challenges that have inspired limited private sector credit.
We've been pursuing a tight monetary policy, and so has government been undertaking fiscal consolidation. Now, we know that the transmission mechanism of monetary policy in our case is anywhere between 12 to 18 months. So some of the actions we took last year are now beginning to play out. So that is affecting the, the aggregate demand in the economy. If you look at the private sector credits, private sector credit growth by end of June was only 6.5% compared to where it used to be of somewhere near 10%. So we think that the impact of this has been to tighten the credit conditions, notwithstanding also the fact that most of the financial institutions have become sort of like risk averse, given the fact that the quality of the assets has been affected by the COVID-19. They have had to make some provisions against that. And then also,
according to Ada Mugume, the Executive Director Research at Bank of Uganda, the slash in cash reserve ratio for commercial banks by 50 basis points to 9.5% further boosts the financial sector as banks look at improved liquidity to support private sector lending, where trade, manufacturing, construction and agriculture, for instance, pursue a progressive curve.
Reducing the CRR loan by 50 basis points would mean that you're injecting, looking at the deposit available, the deposit in the commercial banks, we are talking about an injection of around 160 billion Uganda shillings, just on back of envelopes calculation. So that liquidity, in combination with reducing CRR, which also means that the banks now have more liquidity, we believe that that will have some impact on liquidity available to the banks for on lending. It may not be immediate in terms of lowering lending interest rate, etc., but at least as it should be able to ease the liquidity available to the banks, which then can be available for on lending. So we believe that that is the right direction, given that the demand is softening.
As the country sustains World Bank's definancing for new projects, fear of impact on the shilling and gross economic progress still looms. As per the central bank, joint monitoring of the situation with the finance ministry is on course to ascertain impact that goes as far as on the foreign exchange market.
Until we get a firm information from the Minister of Finance regarding the exact amount of the resources that are affected, it would not be proper for me to speculate on what the impact is going to be. And also we want to know how is the Minister of Finance going to respond to whatever cuts have been made. My understanding is that most of these cuts relate to projects that are yet to be approved by the World Bank. So it therefore means that maybe they have not yet been budgeted. all right, for if the end that are budgeted.
Ultimately, the central bank envisions up to 6% economic growth in the current fiscal year as the private sector gets back on feet, coupled with oil and gas inflows plus export growth. Ivan Tivenkana, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
Shifting our focus to green jobs, while the International Youth Day was commemorated on August the 12th, themed on green skills for sustainability, locally the Afro-Arab Youth Council, whose focus is on pushing the ideas and strategies of the African Union and the Arab League, engaged youths at Mpoma Girls School to shape decisions and actions, particularly in building an eco-friendly world. Ultimately, focus was channeled towards equipping them as pioneers of green skills and jobs. Take a look. Uganda, as per official statistics, heavily relies on charcoal and wood for energy, with a striking 90% of the population dependent on these sources. However, the country grapples with the ongoing consequences of climate change, which hit the youth particularly hard. Instances of severe climate disruptions, including landslides in Kasese district, prolonged drought in Karamoja, and the recent damage to the Katonga Bridge disrupting travel, compound pre-existing socio-economic issues such as youth unemployment, food insecurity, and a lack of sufficient social safety nets. A report from the International Labour Organization regarding skills for green employment in Uganda reveals a lack of comprehensive understanding and effective implementation of green job skills training. While discussing this with students from Mpoma School, we uncovered this.
The plastic bottles. We have designs like of recent. We came up with a design that we decorated our class using plastic bottles, and then our teacher was all like, he's going to make those designs and decorations to go and sell them, and it was also like, we are going to like expose our experience to the like those youths out there and the young people out there so that they can use these materials instead of them polluting the environment, to be used in a positive way, in a way that it will benefit the environment, in a way that we are going to promote more entrepreneurship. Here in this process, we are developing our country, and at the same time, we are solving a problem of relying on the government all the time that we need jobs. Yet this is something that we can do on our own. We can create jobs using the green entrepreneurship.
Poor mechanical condition, they always produce these fumes that have different types of greenhouse gases that destroy our environment, and some of them even cause diseases to our health. So it's health bad, even the environment is also environmentally bad. But then usually there are these stuff that they always put in car exhaust pipes. I don't know what they are called specifically, but they always reduce like the kind of filter, the type of the fumes that are released in the environment. I think if Uganda, if the cars that are maybe manufactured, they put those stuff inside the cars to reduce the number of fumes that are there, it can really help. And yeah, I mentioned something about using bikes, like bicycles. I think it really helps because it's good. It helps in exercise, even in reduction of fumes in the environment, all those stuff, even carpooling can be, and even electric cars. I think, are they there in Uganda? I'm not so sure, but I think they can also help in reducing gases.
Employed in a way that no one is going to call you early in the morning and tell you, come to work, you are late, or no one is going to put you on this pressure. Like, it is healthy. You're going to get your hands dirty, yes, but then getting your hands dirty just helps you understand, I don't know, the way of life, and you get your hands dirty, but you make that money, and that money feels good knowing that you have done it, you have made it yourself, and you have done it. And when this company of yours, this business of yours develops, you can get funding from the NGOs, which improves on your standards of living.
The National Labour Organization also indicates that a shift towards a green economy has a potential to generate as many as 60 million jobs globally. Similarly, research from the Institute of Public Policy highlights that Uganda could create 200,000 jobs in the energy efficiency by 2030. The Afro-Arab Youth Council, in collaboration with the administration at Mpoma Girls School, emphasizes the importance of connecting youth to green skills and jobs to foster sustainable economic development.
It's the best discussion that we can have today. We are living
a moment when the climate is communicating a lot to us. The climate is hurting. Who is hurting the climate? It's us, man. And therefore, this topic is worthwhile, and I think that it has come the best place in the schools. When we come to the schools, you find the youth there. The youth are full of energy. The youth are full of ambition. They are ready to take on the mantle for managing the environment for today and also for the future.
We have to change our mindset. You know, people have not been given enough opportunity to talk about green environment, climate change. So it's upon us now as organizations, as Afro Youth Council has started today, to start with the youth, to innovate them, to emulate them, so that to show them that having such activities, it's not all about money, but it's about having skills. And when you're having skills, we innovate you. And how do we innovate you? By having these clubs, and maybe they can get opportunities to meet other people that have done it and made it in life by creating, by getting money. And especially I think activists or environmental activists that are out there, they need to come and give relevant examples that people can connect, the youth. Because for them, they think this can't be worked on. And I believe it's upon us now as organizations that we start bringing such people so that they start showing them that there is a way, there is money.
Today's youth have championed a range of impactful methods on a personal level, including recycling waste materials, practicing bricklaying, and mastering a briquette production. These endeavors stand as compelling examples of their commitment to combat deforestation and safeguard the environment while showcasing their potential as stewards of a more sustainable future. Innovations for Finance. Uganda Bankers Association, Bank of Uganda, Fintechs and MasterCard have looked into requirements for financial sector stability as the 6th annual Bankers Convention progressed. Emphasis has been put on the instance of fintechs and innovation, which has been critical to transform the face of finance. Similarly, there has been demand for streamlined financial sector regulation, citing numerous regulatory bodies as small finance support centers, such as SACCOs, MDIs are welcomed to aid financial inclusion.
The Uganda Bankers Association, through its 6th annual conference, has fronted issues such as regulation and consumer protection as several financial sector players, regulators, and leading fintech companies divulge into solutions to our prudent sector. Global payment systems giant MasterCard has revealed interest to further entrench presence in the Ugandan market.
As an organization, we have actually formed a team that is responsible for driving fintech partnerships. And that team is actually understanding the nuances that are happening within the market and the use cases that we need to work together to actually solve specific partnerships. For example, we've just launched a partnership with M-Kopa to be able to drive certain solutions in the market. And I think that is obviously something that is going to develop. As you know, this fintech space is fast evolving, and what we provide is that global expertise.
Currently, the financial sector boasts of about 6 regulatory bodies, among which include Bank of Uganda, Financial Intelligence Authority, Capital Markets Authority, among others. The Executive Director of Bank of Uganda, Dr. Twinemanzi, however, affirms the need for a central monitoring authority if the country is to eliminate regulatory overlaps and increase consumer protection.
So, like I said, for the banking sector, you have the Financial Consumer Empowerment Guidelines 2011, and I ask for those who are going to apply for a loan or an overdraft, please read them before you sign. But separately, we're pushing, as Bank of Uganda, we're pushing for the idea that it's time that we have one central agency that looks at consumer protection. Because consumer protection makes certain presumptions, at least for the financial sector, and within the context of today's discussion, that the persons are financially literate, but they're also digitally literate. Before I talk about consumer protection, I just want to just have a quick question to put to the crowd, and you don't have to answer me, but just think about it.
Once feared that financial services such as mobile money and growing microfinance support centers would cause a derailment in the banking sector, with a few disparities in capabilities that are now being bridged by fintechs. The Bankers Association chairperson, Sarah Arapta, contradicts and stresses how this boosts financial inclusion.
predominantly the consumer was interacting with an agent. But today we are saying the merchant is also available for the consumer to be able to avoid cashing out that money, because it is even a risk to carry cash around. So our message really, to the public has been, transact smartly, just use your phone, move anywhere, and you will be secure as long as you do not share your PIN. So, we did look at it in that perspective. Initially, yes, it looked to be a negative intervention, especially towards driving financial inclusion and the rest. But it also gave us a challenge to be able to roll out a new solution, which then has actually transformed the way consumers carry out their transactions on a day-to-day. And of course, that also gave us more perspective in terms of how do we develop new solutions that are going to support government programs. I'm talking about the parish development model.
As we have indicated in this symposium, we need to embrace collaboration and partnerships. So we see micro support institutions as partners, and the more collaboration we have with them alongside fintechs, MNOs, the more we will accelerate digital finance in this country and create inclusion and ensure that these services reach the underbanked and the less marginalized consumers. So we see this as an opportunity for all partners in the sector to come together for us to be able to transform the socio-economic development of this country.
While financial inclusion is purposed at extending nationwide accessibility to digital financial solutions, such as mobile banking and other services, research indicates that the uptake of formal financial services is still largely restricted to payment and saving services. Stuart Jacon, Smart 24 Television, Business Today.
Tungamo district is clogging on bad roads. Tungamo district has openly expressed fury over inhibited progress as a result of the poor state of roads. Discontent comes after progress on road works in neighboring district, that is Rukunjiri, where renovation of Chibilizi Chitimba Connect is on course. Tungamo residents are now unsettled, concerned about the challenges in transport and flow of their produce across the district.
During renovation ceremony of the road connecting Chibirizi and Chitimba at Kebisoni in Rukunjiri district, residents of Chafora village finally had an opportunity to voice their concerns. They expressed their frustration over a adverse impact of these road conditions, which is hampering their ability to transport goods, subsequently affecting their income and hampering development of the area.
Due to poor roads, we as residents have encountered difficulties in transporting goods such as coffee, beans, and matoke, among others. The main issue revolves around the state of our roads, which is very poor. It is widely known that roads are the sole pathway to development in these regions.
The deteriorating roads have cast a shadow over the aspirations of Chafora village's residents. These hardworking individuals are finding it increasingly difficult to move their goods due to the poor road conditions. With limited access to markets and neighboring districts, their potential to earn a sustainable income has been significantly curtailed.
We are ready to na program ya government na munonga abebembezi MP wetu kuna yompower kabasha.
In my entire life, this marks the first occasion where I have witnessed government constructing our road in this area. I am genuinely pleased as this road will link us to wider markets in places like Rukunjiri. Once it's complete, we anticipate increased earnings. We should exert more pressure to UNRA, just like we did for the upcoming renovations of the road connecting Chibirizi and Chitimba in Rukonjiri district.
In light of these challenges, need for immediate action becomes evident. The local authorities and stakeholders should collaborate to address the road infrastructure problems in Chafola village. Investment in road rehabilitation and maintenance is crucial to not only improve the residents' lives, but also contribute to economic growth of the region.
Government yaba niyo kubagomesa ibi byo kubagabira byabusha abantu bagenda kukora nambwe.
The issue I'm not seeing is people's reluctancy to work just because of the situation of the roads. But still, I am requesting government to step in because these roads are crucial for businesses and economic progress in this place. While focusing on road repairs, Chafora village must also look beyond its borders, exploring trade opportunities with neighboring districts and other regions within Uganda can open doors to new markets. Kate Namgera, Bronya Katsime, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
We've come to the end of Business Today. Thank you for having joined us tonight. Before I officially sign out, here's a quick look at our top stories. In Business Today, Bank of Uganda drops central bank rate to 9.5% as Uganda sustains low 6.5% growth. Slow progress attributed to the monetary tightening in the course of last year. 700 tea growers in Kigezi region petition parliament over uncleared damages. Patrick Chichoncho arrested, yet to account for tea growers 30 billion shillings. And 40% of local demand undermines market. Dairy Development Authority eyes African dairy export linkages. Kenya's brocket termed strategic, although powder exports rank highly. Well, there you have it. That's pretty much it what we had lined up for you tonight.